All right, everyone, it is Dokkan time again, and today we are going to be discussing the build for the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Daima, Vegeta. He is technically the EX part summon unit for the 10th anniversary. Technically speaking, yes, they have classified him as a 10th anniversary unit. Unfortunately, they have decided, hey, just because he's a 10th anniversary unit, doesn't mean you get to use your pity coins. So that's a little bit of an unfortunate thing to be running with him. He does have pity coins. You only have to get those up to 200. If you get a lot of dupes, perhaps you will be lucky enough to just get them at 55 and move on. Do remember that this Vegeta will not be back during Worldwide Download Celebration, most likely. The normal schedule would imply that he would not be back until October and onward. Same thing with the Saiyan Day unit, whoever that may or may not be, potential another recent animated monkey that's above my head. But yeah, so just keep that in mind when you're summoning for this guy, is that he will not be back for probably the majority of the year. He is good, and I do feel like people are minding him quite a bit. And it's just mostly because they don't have the right team to be utilizing him on and using him effectively. I think as the year goes on, we will be getting much better and better and better options for Daima-based units and so forth. So I do think his stonks will go up for sure. But for right now, I do understand people's gripe. And yes, he is a bit dupe dependent. So with all of that being said, I will make one more comment and we'll start getting into the video as far as the breakdown, the defense, slot suggestions, build suggestions, and the return of team builds. Team build is still very much under construction. I just felt that Vegeta really needed the suggestion because there is one specific team that I have found where he can truly, really ignite and be good and definitely trump your expectations. So let's just kind of get into let's just get into it now. By the way, the OST you're listening to right now is his intro theme. So Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, his 200% options are pretty lacking, aside from a couple 220 liters, of course. As far as straight 200% units, I would only suggest Glorio. Maybe Daima Goku if you just want to kind of have fun and maybe try to amp up his damage a bit more. But I would highly suggest Daima Glorio specifically as his primary team, actually. Other than that, his best team should be straight up on the AGL Gogeta team. That would actually be his other next best option. Or even the 220 full power Gohan team could definitely be an option. His leader skill is Transformation Boost, Gifted Warriors, and that is a category Key plus 3, HP 200%, and attack and defense of 170. And then he gives a 50% HP attack and defense boost to Power Beyond Super Saiyan category allies. So the only thing I don't like about his new fleshed out 200, 250 leader skill is it's only one category, unfortunately. If this had said Power Beyond Super Saiyan and let's just say, I don't know, Time Travelers or something weird like that, you know, anything else, it could have been the most random little category. It would have made it a lot better. It's still a decent, it's actually a pretty good leader skill because Power Beyond Super Saiyans is actually getting a pretty good amount of buffs. So I do think his leader skill will definitely get stonks as well. His super attack is Slash Arrow Kick. He raises attack and defense by 33% for 3 turns specifically. He causes immense damage, and he raises allies' attack by, raises allies' defense, my apologies. He raises allies' defense by 33% for 1 turn, self-excluded. I do think this is really good. I think it's really weird that they only give it from 1 turn. I really cannot stress enough that if this was 2-turn buff, it would have made him infinitely a better unit. Infinitely. I'm not joking. So, moving on to his passive skill. It's actually a pretty straightforward passive, which is kind of abnormal. but he does have an entrance animation here, which activates one time. It just activates, there's no restriction. Chance of performing critical hit and damage reduction of 20% and foresees enemy super attack for 1 turn. So this is a unit that you can either benefit from a really hard fight at the beginning and you get a scouter right off the get-go. Or, you know, you could potentially hope that he ends up in slot 3 or slot 7 and his first turn is on turn 3. And perhaps you get to use his scouter on maybe a little bit of a into the fight. But yeah, I think this is nice. It does suck that it's only for 1 turn, but I do think it can set things up correctly for you, depending on the fight you're going into. As far as the rest of his kit goes, it's pretty bare, honestly. Key +3 attack and defense 200%, damage reduction rate 50%, pretty straightforward. As the first attacker in a turn, he'll have an extra 20% damage reduction, so that's a 70% damage reduction in total in slot 1. As the first or second attacker in turn, he gets an attack plus 50% and chance for a crit plus 30%. When attacking, 200%. When receiving an attack, defense plus 200%. After receiving an attack, he launches an additional super attack, and after receiving a super attack, he launches an additional super attack. I can tell you that this is guaranteed if you just straight up take a super attack right off the bat. You can see right here, we're getting super attacked by Jiren. It's the only attack that we're getting hit with in this slot in this time, and we're gonna see Vegeta here do a triple super. So this is the first super right here, right now. Second super. His animation's actually really good. I really love his animation. It's really nice. Really good animation from the anime. Third super. Now, most people that could be watching be like, that could be his hidden potential. Well, give it a sec. And there's his hidden potential proc that leads into a normal. As you can see, he only got the super attack coming at him 1 time. So that means the super attack both activated both of these parts of his passive, which is receiving an attack, launch an additional super, and after receiving a super attack, launch an additional super attack. So just keep that in mind. If you just gets attacked by a super attack right off the get-go, it just means he's going to guarantee triple super. So moving on to the rest of his passive, he does have an active skill, which is the Gallic Gun. Greatly raises attack temporarily and causes ultimate damage to the enemy at attack plus 33% for 1 turn. You can activate this after performing 5 or more super attacks once in battle. So this will raise his attack by 33%, and of course, as an active, this does technically activate the effect of his super attack. So yes, this does imply that you will get this raise attack and defense by 33% for 3 turns. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I take it back. Please don't attack me. Please don't attack me. I'm sorry. Basically, what it does is that it procs your super attack modifiers. So it says when attacking 200%. And then you have your basic effects of attack and defense of 200%. So if there was a modifier there of procking, like if it said he gets 200% on super, then he would get the 200 defense. So, but it doesn't activate actually. So I apologize. I just rambled on for nothing. Please forgive me. I highly doubt many people watch this part of the video anyways. They probably just click on the builds and leave. Link skills: Super Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Golden Warrior, Royal Lineage, Prodigies, Limit Breaking Form, and Fierce Battle. So I do want to point out one thing about his Link skills. His Link skills, well, there's not a single bloody defense one. Every single one of his links is for purely attack. That's all it is. Vegeta has no defensive links. So because of this, I do have to go ahead and straight up tell you this is quite honestly one of the very few units in the game that will not get too much of a benefit from link leveling them. Would I suggest you still link level him? Yes, of course I would. Of course I always suggest to link level your units. It does matter. But as far as like damage goes, Vegeta is not here for damage. I'm gonna be real. He has all these links, but the majority of the time, you're not even gonna have all of these going off because he doesn't have a perfect partner. And I say that because he only has one partner that is suitable, and that partner is the Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku. And the reason for that is due to the fact of the Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku's ability once he transforms into Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So this Goku right here, you know, just initially, just as he himself, he is supporting power beyond Super Saiyan category allies defense by 50%. So that's a pretty solid increase in defense right there. But if we go ahead and go and transform him into his Super Saiyan 4 state, once we get to the Super Saiyan 4 state, if the image wants to change, no? Okay, Dokkan info. I'm sure the information changed. Yeah, the information changed. So once he actually transforms into this, he now is supporting power beyond Super Saiyan allies by defense of 70%. But that's not all. He's also giving damage reduction rate of 10%. So because this Super Saiyan 4 Goku is supplying power beyond Super Saiyan allies and Giant Ape allies with 10% damage reduction, this means that Vegeta's damage reduction in slot 1 goes from being only 70% in total to 80% damage reduction in total. I can promise you guys, without any sort of disbelief, that the devs knew this would happen. They knew they were going to put Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku out. They knew people were going to want to utilize that damage reduction, and this is what they're doing. They purposely made this Vegeta a little bit weaker so that you would utilize that Goku. That is why they did it. So if he feels weaker, this is probably why. Because they want you to run the new unit with him, with this in mind. The only problem I have with this is that it's not the best scenario to be running Goku like this, with him specifically. It doesn't help Goku that much, and that's the reason I don't necessarily like it, but it is his best link partner purely because of that damage reduction. Purely because of that damage reduction increase. Otherwise, aside from that Goku's damage reduction buff, if you're not going into actually difficult, serious, insanely difficult content, your probably best bet is once we get the Super Easy A for this STR Vegeta, he will be the best bet. The unfortunate thing here is that both of these units are just straight up tanks, but you will definitely see a damage increase. There will be a significant damage increase as these two are getting 55% damage increase between each other. Whereas with Goku, you are getting the passive increase, of course, for defense, but not damage, and you're only getting like 2 links off. So the damage increase via links would change dramatically for Vegeta in this sense. So, anyways, with all that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the defense numbers. Compliments of Halvard, of course. So, Halvard's defense calculations are pretty straightforward. So, when receiving just an attack, he will have a start of turn defense of 500k. 500k is not crazy. I do assume that he's still calculating this only under 200%. But I have seen him at pretty low stats. Start of turn defense you won't be able to see typically. That's the only issue when receiving an attack. So, let me see here. So if you look at the top there, it's probably really small if you're on your phone. But without support, his start of turn defense is only 178. My experience with him on Double Glorio team is that with a rainbow, he will probably be at like 300k start of turn defense. So this 500k start of turn defense is actually very low by comparison of what you'll actually get, especially with a correct partner and on a good team. So, and when receiving, the reason why it's different between receiving attack and when receiving a super attack is because you get the additional super. This is a unit's defense could be vastly different based on just getting super attacks off. If you got a magical additional quad super in a turn, which means you got your initial super, you got super attacked during the last turn, and you actually got the super afterwards, that would mean you get a free triple super. And then a quad would be if you got your hidden potential to proc. That is 4 stacks. So that is 3, 6, 9, 12 plus 3, 6, 9, 12. So that's that's what, 132% increase on his attack just from the last turn, and then he gets to go again. So yeah, no, this is bare minimum right here. This is bare minimum 1.5 million post super, and if he gets super attacked, you know, I would say his actual defense post super would probably be averaging around the 1.7, 1.8 margin, if not close to 2 on a double Glorio team. Double Glorio with Super Saiyan 4 Goku support, you can definitely wank the crap out of this guy's defense. This is definitely something that can be kept in mind of. His defense is good, guys. His defense is good. And with 70% damage reduction, he's tanking 5, 6 million. Heck, he could tank a 7 million super, technically speaking, especially with the 80% damage reduction next to Goku. Post super, of course, post super. Pre super, let's angle it down to like roughly the 5 or 6 million point, depending on your dupes. You could survive a 6 million. You're just going to take probably close to, I want to say, like 500k, maybe even almost 700k. It's just, it could be really rough. It just really depends. There is one thing I did want to go ahead and talk about real quick. And it's the critical argument. There has been a lot of talk about the critical argument, and I will have to admit that I was incorrect. Boss's super attacks do not critical attack the same as our own units. I use this right here as an example. So Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Daima, he's got a 384 start turn defense. He's got the Goku here on support, so he's got 80% damage reduction. He's got double Glorio going on for him. And right here, we have the Tech UI Goku from the memorable battle, or not Magnificent Supreme Blue Zone battle. This is a 2.1 million critical attack, and he double-digited it. Now, in a normal instance of critical for the player ignores defense. That's the reason why critical is so valuable, why it does so much damage, and why bosses that have such a high defense or even damage reduction can still take a crap ton of damage from a critical because it's ignoring defense. So the whole point that I'm trying to get across here is that in a normal instance, that Vegeta should not have double-digit tank that with literally 0 defense. It just should not have happened. It should not have happened. This Goku has a 2.15 million super attack, and it does critical. And he actually greatly raises his attack on that. So it's actually doing more than a critical normally would in this sense. So it's just something I really have to throw out there to people, that they need to understand that critical does not work the same with bosses as it does for player criticals. So yes, critical does a lot of extra damage, but can Vegeta tank a 2.1 million crit? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He can double-digit tank it. I have it right here. I have the proof. Mind you, once again, this is on a double Glorio team with Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku supporting with that 80% damage reduction with increased defense. You know, there is some, you know, some landmines to get there, to get to that good defense point, but it is definitely there. So, with that being said and done out of the way, I do want to just go ahead and jump into his builds now. As far as his 55% build, at 55%, you only are going to have... Oh, wait, hold up. Sorry. Not sure why I did that. At 55%, you are only going to have the level 5 because he's a physical unit. He starts out at level 5 additional. I would highly suggest you just give him another silver level 5 to just give him a total of level 10 additional, which will be a 20% chance to additional super or additional attack specifically. So a lot of people were complaining about this minimum thing right here. So this is the minimum is just what's in the hidden potential. It is not counting the equipment. So I used to not, for the 55% specifically, I used to go ahead and add the equipment to it right here because it was just so little. But because of how many people have complained about it and it being confusing, I've decided to just make this 100% just the minimum that is in the hidden potential system. So right here, this is the only thing a 55% Vegeta will have minimum without equipment. I suggest you give him a level 5 additional and then give him a level 5 bronze. This is a unit that wants defense. You want to give him raw defense if you have the ability. If you got a level 7, give it to him. Give it to him. It'll help. It'll help. If you get dupes with this guy, 2 dupes, and you unlock the gold, give him more defense orbs if you got it. Just make sure it's an EX orb so you can take it off him later. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to his next build. So I'm not gonna do a 1 dupe build. I'm sure a lot of people are hoping for a 1 dupe build, but I'm just not up for it. So level 17 additional is this first build with a level 9 dodge. I would suggest for his gold equip, you just give him a dodge equip, or for his silver equip, give him an additional equip. You can flip-flop these if you so wish. You know, if you got a level 5 gold additional, and if you got a level 5 silver dodge, then go ahead and flip-flop it. The whole reason for this is that this Vegeta is not immortal because he doesn't have guard, so the dodge will help. And primarily the reason you want the additional is so that he has more defense the next time he comes around. So let's say on an off chance that he doesn't get attacked. Let's just say he's in slot 1 and there is no unit attacking him. That means he doesn't have any additionals going. And that means he's only going to have the bare minimum additional. Or not, he's just going to have the bare minimum initial super attack, which means he will have little to no defense come the next round. His defense is actually RNG reliant. It is actually very much RNG reliant, and very much so dupe reliant, because you need the extra stats. You need the extra chance to additional attack to get his defense up. You're not additionaling only just to do damage. You're additionaling so that you can get more defense to tank next turn. And in some cases, this could be very life or death in some fights. But yeah. I still suggest the level 5 defense equip, by the way. Another build I would suggest is just going straight up full on to dodge. There's nothing wrong with giving him a full dodge build like this, a level 15 minimum. He is a physical unit, so giving him 11 additional will be still nice. Remember, a level 11 additional is 22% chance to additional. Whereas with dodge, it's only 1% per level. So a dodge level 15 is literally a 15% chance to dodge. If you gave him a gold equip, that increased it to 20, so that's a 20% chance to dodge. Or in Dokkan terms, it's a rare chance to dodge. But yeah. I still suggest giving him an additional orb. If you so wish, you can definitely just go literal full-on dodge. That's entirely up to you. That is you as a player, you can decide to do that. I personally feel like he needs more raw defense numbers myself. So if I do manage to get him and get him with dupes, this is going to be my build right here more than likely. I will probably replace the gold or silver with defense orbs if I have them. But yeah, this guy wants additional. I want him to additional. That's what I want out of this guy personally. Because that's where I felt I was lacking. I didn't actually have a time in my testing and calculations that Vegeta ever had a problem with actually tanking. He actually tanks fine. You live. People forget that we are in the meta of 250% HP increase. Everyone's forgetting that. We have, I literally am suggesting in this next slide 3 leaders that are 220 and 2 of them or one of them that's 250% HP increase. Your standard HP amount with LRs should be around 800k, if not higher. 800k is turning into the new minimum. by the end of the year, we're going to be wrangling 900k to dang near a million HP. So him tanking a super for 500, 600k, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine by me. That's fine by me. Because we got units like Gogeta, we got units like Vegeta that are all healing when they transform. We have units to heal. I'm not worried about him tanking a really high leveling, damaging super. I'm not worried about it. So long as he still lives. So long as we still live, that's all I care about, because we can heal it up. We can heal it up. I'm not worried about it. So, with his builds out of the way, let's just go ahead and move on to his roll tips. Roll tips wise, he is straight up a tank. This is why I did not suggest critical. He has a 30% chance to crit in his passive. If I thought his damage was crazy enough, I would have suggested crit. I don't think his damage is crazy. I think his damage can be good. I think it can be reliable. But I don't think it's enough to say that he needs to be worrying about critical attacking. If he crits on the 30%, awesome. Love it. Love to see it. But otherwise, he is straight up a defense unit. He needs to be in slot 1. He needs a tank. He needs to live. That's it. That's all I expect from him. He is a tank. That is what I expect from a tank, is to make sure I live into slot 2, 3, and into the next turn. That's what I care about, because slot 1 is the weakest slot, technically speaking, and you need to have your strongest defensive unit in slot 1. And we got quite the meta curve, so. Leaders, I would highly suggest Glorio as his primary leader, as the double Glorio effect is much better for him than a standard 220, 250 leader. It's obviously not better on your HP, but the effect you get from double Glorio is much higher than what you would get from just having him on the team with, say, AGL Gogeta on a 220, 250 lead. Gohan is a 220 full power leader, so this is a very valid leader to be rocking here, depending on the fight you go into. And I did throw Daima Goku into here. I don't really suggest too many 200% any longer, because we're in a new meta, things are harder, and you really need to make sure you're bringing a leader that can support enough of giving enough HP, enough attack and defense. Moving forward, pretty much I'm gonna try my best not to suggest 170s. You can definitely rock 170s by all means, but I am trying my hardest to keep you up to that 200, 220, 250 range. Partner-wise, Goku, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku that transformed to Super Saiyan 4, is his best partner purely because of the 60-70% defense boost and the damage reduction increase that he gets when he goes into Super Saiyan 4. As far as attack links and another defensive tank with him, the Super Easy A Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta that at the time of writing has not Super Easy Aid, but will in a couple days. That would be his next best partner. You could technically run the Great Ape Vegeta. They do link together. That is a thing. Although I don't think it's actually his best partner. It's just an option. And then there is the Super Saiyan. There is the AGL Gogeta, basically. These two do link up decently well. Damage-wise, obviously. It does hurt this guy, though, a lot because he has no key links going off. He's not even getting all of his attack links either. But the reason I included him as a partner is because if you get to Gogeta, and then you activate Gogeta's active skill, Vegeta's defense goes to a very large and nice amount, to the point of if you actually used Gogeta, and you didn't kill the boss, at least you know Vegeta's gonna tank. At least you know Vegeta's gonna tank. You would see Vegeta probably in one of his best lights if you manage to have the Super Saiyan 4 Goku on turn with a Gogeta active going off in slot 3. That would be a crazy looking turn for this Vegeta. His best slot position is definitely going to be in slot 1. Slot 1 is the only position I would suggest him in, just because he has 50% damage reduction in slot 2. Does not mean he's living much. His defense is not that crazy to the manner that I would say that he is reliable in slot 2, because he needs to receive an attack first to be able to get all these free additionals off. Otherwise, you're only getting one super off. When you're only getting one super off, guys, this is all you're getting right here. I mean, this is it. You're only getting like 700k, 1k defense. That's it. That's it. That'd be in slot 2. So you have to be very wary that this Vegeta straight up has to be in slot 1. He has to be in slot 1. It's not an option. It's not a choice. He has to be in slot 1. Bring a Senzu Bean with you so he doesn't get locked out of place. And obviously, if you're running Glorio, you're bringing some Senzu Beans anyways, just to make sure he doesn't get locked either, because you want Glorio in slot 3. So finally, with the roll tips being done and out of the way, hopefully that helped you out if you don't have Glorio. But this is the best team I can think of to optimally have Vegeta in the best light that you can potentially have him in. I have ran this team against the Blue Zone Part 2 Dragon Ball Super Stage, where you saw that Tech UI where he tanked. So you know he can make it to the end and do very well. Team build is double Glorio for leaders here. You see the friend leader and the leader and the friend right here. We got Super Saiyan 3 Daima Goku, or Vegeta. And then we got Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku. We got LR Giant Ape Vegeta. We got the LR Gogeta. And then we have Daima Goku on the team. Rotations wise, Vegeta must be in slot 1. And then he needs to be paired with Goku. Unfortunately, as you can see here, the synergy between these two is very low. It's unfortunately very low only due to the fact that they do not have that many links together. Synergy-wise is what I am counting with links, link-wise. So the links that he has, which I will try to pop up here for you. The links that he's having activated, I believe, are going to be Super Saiyan and just Fierce Battle. I think that's literally the only links that you will have going off with these two. Pretty confident. Let me try to get this pulled up if it'll allow me. Give me a sec. So, link-wise with Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you will only be having literally Super Saiyan and Fierce Battle going off. So it's the only two links you'll be having, which is just a 15% attack increase on Super Saiyan and 20% on Fierce Battle as long as they're link level 10. It's not a lot of links going off for Vegeta, but it's not the point. The point is to get the support and extra damage reduction from Goku. That is the entire point of running them together. And yes, it does matter. That 10% damage reduction increase is the difference between tanking for 300k and 900k. You don't think it does, but math knows that it does matter. So, your next rotation doesn't necessarily have to be this specifically. It can be with Daima Goku, or heck, it can even be with one of these two. It just depends on how your rotations start off with. But basically, the only reason that Giant Ape Vegeta is basically on the team, the only reason Giant Ape Vegeta is on the team is purely because he's literally one of the best tanks in the game right now. This dude is just absurd. Yes, he's a better tank than Daima Vegeta. I'm sorry to say that. I hate saying that in all given honesty. But you can't argue with the facts when bro has 60% damage reduction slot 1 while guarding. I'll be honest, I would have rather Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta had guard and 50% damage reduction than giving him 70% and no guard. The guard difference is truly insane. It truly is insane. But anyways, the point of this team is that on the second rotation, on both rotations, you have the Vegetas in slot 1, and they are tanking just about virtually everything you can throw at them. Meanwhile, in slot 2, Super Saiyan 4 Goku is off-turn supporting also as well, so he will be supporting the second rotation along with supporting this Vegeta for extra damage reduction. Even if you got this Goku to float off by accident, he would just be a nice partner for this the Giant Ape Vegeta as well. So flip-flopping this isn't even a bad thing. And in fact, their synergy level would go up a lot more if you flip-flop these two. But the only reason that I have Super Saiyan 4 Goku along with Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta is just because of that extra 10% damage reduction, because it does make a huge difference for this Vegeta. As far as for slot 3s for this team, it's obviously just going to be both double Glorio leaders are going to be floating so that you get their off-turn support. And then Daima Goku could also stay on rotation if you so wished. I just figured that the AGL Gogeta is the more prioritized unit to be stacking and keeping up on the turn. But you definitely can keep Daima Goku on rotation if you so wish. You could technically just float the AGL Vegeta Gogeta unit, and then just having constant floating support between Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Daima Goku, supporting the entire team on defense and on attack. So there's a lot of support going on this team, and as you can see, Glorio does his job and does a lot of support. It does kind of make up for him being only a 200% leader, so. But anyways, I apologize that this took so long. I'm about an hour and a half late after recording here from Vegeta releasing into the game. But hopefully, this has helped you out. Let me know down in the comments how you plan to build this Vegeta. What team do you plan to try and use on? Or you plan to just skip him? You know, there's nothing wrong with skipping this Vegeta. I think he's definitely a skip unit banner. I'm super hyped about Super Saiyan 3. I love Daima, and I gotta try to get him. I gotta try. So, anyways, thank you for watching, everyone. And I hope you have a good day and a good night.